Welcome to the Tactical Dad podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Cook, and I am the Tactical Dad. In this episode 66, we're going to talk about parts, or we're going to talk gun parts, the parts of a pistol. Because there's specific names, specific parts of a gun that are good to know, good to understand for many different reasons. So we're just going to focus today on a handgun, a pistol, part of a pistol, parts of a handgun. So let's get into it. I have a 9mm Smith & Wesson, and almost all of the same things are on the gun. That's a good thing about this, is it's quite universal. All of the parts of a gun are pretty universal. Yeah, they have variations from brand to brand, mechanism to mechanism, but mostly, there's a barrel, there's a magazine release, there's a trigger, there's a disassembly lever, the grip, there is a hammer, might be one sight on the rear or one sight on the front, but there's two, but I think I have seen one that just had a front sight. So like either way, they've got sights. You've got the slide, you've got the typically you have some sort of safety, and that's it. So I'm just going to go through, I almost went through them all right there. So the most common parts of a handgun, a pistol, is the magazine. Because even though it comes out of the gun and you load it up with ammunition, we're going to just factor that in as part of the gun right now. So you've got the magazine, you have the grip, you have the safety, you have the hammer, you have a rear sight, you have a slide top, you have the slide itself, you have the front sight. I think I just said rear sight. You usually have a sight on either. You have a disassembly lever, you have the trigger, obviously, to fire the thing. You have a magazine release to unload the magazine, reload it. You also have, am I missing anything? Magazine, grip, safety, hammer, rear sight, front sight. The barrel, right? The barrel, which is what, once you pull the trigger and the hammer hits once the hammer hits the bullet and the firing of once the hammer hits the ammunition and the bullet is fired, it goes through the barrel, out the end of the barrel. You've got that. You've got the disassembly lever, so that comes into consideration when you're cleaning the gun, or like if you just have a malfunction. Typically, you can either just re-rack it or smack the bottom smack the magazine and then rack it, and it'll happen. But sometimes, if it's like a serious malfunction, you might have to flick the disassembly lever, and you might have to disassemble it to fix it. Especially if you don't clean it often. So you always want to be pretty on top of cleaning all of your guns, because if it came down to it and you were in a gunfight, if that thing's not clean and it's rusty or it's dirty, the last thing you want it to do is malfunction on you, because that's going to take some time and it might cost your life. So there's all different types of magazines, there's different types of all of these things, but it's pretty universal in the words. There's different triggers you can buy. People love to customize shit in this industry. So there's all different types of triggers you can buy and modify. There's different types of magazine release buttons and parts you can buy. Magazines typically are all based on what the model handgun can accommodate, whether it's a single stack or a double stack. Grips, you can customize grips quite a fair amount, and I'm actually starting to understand it. I'm starting to get a personal preference on what I like the feel of. So that's pretty cool. You can adjust and adapt, modify grips because of what they use on the grip and the different textures and the different patterns for different feels. You can customize the sights. On a lot of handguns, you can have red dots, you can have holographic sights, you can have I haven't seen many tube style red dots on a handgun. I have seen I've seen more open sights, open red dots, or holographic, which are open sights on handguns. That seems to be the common thing for a handgun. It just helps you acquire the target, get on target quicker, and still have like a really large field of view. You can, I don't know what the differences are with the hammer in terms of customizing, but I know you can buy different types of hammers. So there's got to be something there. I'm not too sure about that though. But they are, just in basic form, they are the parts of a handgun. They are the parts of a pistol, which are just good to know. So if you're having a conversation with your instructor, with your coach, or with someone that you're hanging out with, and they mention parts of the gun, it's just good to know what they're referring to. So I found learning parts of the gun, these common things anyway, was a very good idea. But that's all from me today. Thanks for joining me. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the parts of an AR-15, a rifle, and there's tons of things you can do to modify that. But we're going to just talk the most common parts of a rifle. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next episode.